everybody, this is Miss Rebecca at the Searcy Public Library, and we are doing the second video for our merpanda today. We're going to discuss how to sew on and go around all the little areas to sew your panda up to make him stronger. And I'm gonna try to go in order of what I did so we can put some video clips together. We had a lot of problems filming because my phone messed up and wouldn't let me record some of the video clips. So some of the video clips might be missing of what I talk about, but we're gonna do our best to string them all together and make sense of this whole thing. And I know this was a little more difficult, but if you think this is too difficult of a craft, you can always make a mer kitty, you know, the kitty cat mermaid, and it's a lot easier. And you would just do it with two of these plushy looking socks. And there's a video on YouTube for that. If you just want to put in mer kitty to the search for YouTube, it'll probably come up. So if the panda seems to be too hard for you, then you can do the mer kitty. I just tried to do the merpanda because I wanted to see if I could do it or not. So anyway, and this was the original artwork that we used. And so that was how we were able to cut out the shapes that we needed for his nose and his eyes and his ears. So whatever reference pictures you can get of the face, that would help you. Okay, so we showed you how to construct it using the hot glue and socks last time, and now we're going to go over this part. So we are going to actually sew these little parts on, you know, and that's what we have videos for today. And so what you'll need probably today for this is either a little sewing kit like this from the dollar store, or you could just, if you have some embroidery thread already from other projects, you can use embroidery thread, and you would just need a darning needle, which has a bigger eye if you're going to use the embroidery thread. The merpanda, I used embroidery thread and a darning needle because it was stronger, and I felt like it was able to get through some of the glue we put on there a little bit easier. So, and everything we did to sew this merpanda involves a whip stitch. And a whip stitch is when you have two pieces and you're going from, let's see, here's a piece of paper. This is an example. If I was sewing these two things together, they're right next to each other. You're gonna always go into the color thread you're using. So like if it was black, if I was sewing around his eye or his ear, I used black thread. And then when I was sewing on his tie or his mane, I used white thread. And I used a whip stitch for that. And so what I did for the whip stitch, if you have this two items sitting on top of each other like this, you're gonna start in the color that your thread is all the time, because that way you can hide your stitches better. And then when you come out, if you go through this, you'll come out in this, say I had purple thread on this. So I'm gonna come out through here and pull my thread up. And then every time I come to do a new stitch, I'm gonna go through the purple, if that makes any sense. So I'm never gonna go from blue to purple. I'm always gonna just keep going from purple to blue. And so that's how you make a whip stitch. And if you need to look up whip stitching on the internet, you can. We've used whip stitch before, I think when we've done some sewing projects here at Makerspace, but I just wanted to go over that with you first. Okay, for the first part, when we made our panda, I didn't show you that I used this fluffy sock to like put him a little belt right here. Like, you know how mermaids have that little area that goes from their body down to their little fins? So I just cut that out of a sock, and I used the end of the sock and I cut a V, and then I took the top part that's smaller and cut another V. So I got this shape, and you can see it's pointed, and there's this is pointed. So I just put that on and glued it on, and then I took this sock and cut out the heel. So I cut the heel out, and I was able to make him some little fins and glue those on. And I just left that. I didn't really sew over these because they were on there so well. So I didn't have a video for that. I'm just letting you know what I did, because this just hid the seams of glue between the fins down here and his body, because you would have had a line anyway, maybe a straight line, but this just kind of makes it go in a shape. So that was one thing that we did before we started sewing. Okay, so when I started sewing, I sewed starting at one ear, and I started on one of the corners of the ear, and I would sew around using a whip stitch, and then I would go down the back side of the ear and the front side of the ear also. And so it's really on there, you can't pull it off. And then I did the other ear. And to get to each item, if you have the same color thread but you don't want to just go all the way across your fabric, you just can go through the middle of your doll. If you're this is kind of like a doll. So you would stick your needle through the whole panda to get to the other. So see, if I was going from this ear and I wanted to come over here, I don't want to show my thread, so I just went behind everything, and you push it through to this other area, and then you would start on the other ear. So that's how you go in between items. So I started on one ear, then I went to the next ear, and then I decided I was going to keep going with the black thread, and so I sewed around the eye, and then I sewed around this eye, and I also sewed up the arms. Now the arms, I just started down here at the arms, and I also sewed around the nose. So I went from the ears to the eyes to the nose, and then I made the mouth, and then I came down and did the arms. And I just went around the arms wherever the glue wasn't really stuck very good, and just whip stitch all the way around that seam on that one side of him. And I did kind of make his arms do a little bit of a curvature on this side, because I want him to be waving at you. So you can play around with your arms. Like, you can take and move this and sew it to itself to get his arm up like this, or you can put his arm down like this. So you can make his arms do whatever you want once they're on there. And so you go around each arm, and then we added the eyes and the tie. I think we did the tie first, and I thought he needed a tie because when you sew his head on, it gets a little bit too much thread showing, because that's a big transition between those two pieces. So I thought he might need a tie to cover up some of that thread. So we made our tie, and if you don't know how to tie a tie, you can look online and learn how to tie a tie and practice that. And then to keep his tie from moving or coming undone, I just tacked it down, and I made a little star fish on his tie. Okay, and then we sewed the eyes on. And I want to say, before I sewed the eyes on, I took a piece of white and I went through this to make his nose ridge hold up a little bit better. So I would go back and forth between these two in the same spot, and it kind of pulled in this area. Then I can sew his eyes on. And I might have done that when I was stitching around. I don't remember exactly when I did that part, but it'll be in the clips. Then we sewed his eyes on. I just used some little starfish buttons I found in the library in a button tin. Mr. Harrison is a patron of ours, and he donated his wife's sewing equipment to us here at the library. And I used some of the buttons that came in her sewing kit to do this craft with. And I also used some of the thread that was in her sewing box. So I want to say thank you to Mr. Harrison if you ever see this video for your nice sewing supplies. We've used those a lot. Okay, then after we sewed the eyes on, I decided we needed to sew on some mane. So I just took some rainbow looking trim. It was in Miss Jane Ann's junk from sewing masks. I just found this randomly on the floor. So, and it was rainbow colored. So it doesn't have to be rainbow colored. It can be anything. So I just used some of this trim stuff she already had in the floor. But you can use yarn, you can use ribbon, you can use whatever you like to make his mane with. I just used that because I found it. And it was just a last minute decision. And then, of course, we sewed his horn on. And then I gave him a little hair in the front because I thought he looked a little bald. So I put another part of trim on the front of him. And then I guess that's it. This was a little more difficult than I thought it would be. So probably if you're a little kid under the age of 8, you probably do not want to try without mom's help to do this. You might get frustrated, or it might take you a lot longer than it did to do it. And that's okay. You can work a little piece at a time. Just do one piece a day or whatever you want to do. Don't get frustrated with it though. But they turn out super cute. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.